Welcome. This is our interview for Rebel Legion for, I believe, an event. I'm not entirely sure which one specifically, so I'm not going to name names because I don't want to be saying the wrong one. Uh, but let's hop right into it. You are Deborah Wilson. You've played both Seer and Tara from both Jedi Fallen Order and Tales from Galaxy's Edge. I'm a really big fan of your work. I've been following your voice acting career for a while, along with your live acting career. You have one of the most iconic voices I've ever come across, and it's always a treat to have you in a video game that I'm playing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Victor. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it is truly a marvelous and wonderful universe that I get a chance to play in and explore and be invited into. And it's epic. It's so I think I don't think I've ever done as much epic work live action than I have done in animation and in video games. It's just an epic world. I mean, if I had to use, like I said, one pinnacle word, is epic. And I love being able to be presented with these epic characters. Just even the audition process, I get jazzed, I get excited, I get motivated. I'm passionate about it. I'm very, very much passionate about acting in voice with voice. Now that I've completely moved into that serious realm of it and making that the predominant aspect of what I do creatively when it comes to work. And I take it very seriously and I take it very lightly at the same time. And it's an amazing world. It's very open and inviting by the community of voiceover actors that I've met. It's a welcoming experience, and it is really the highlight of what I do in the entertainment industry. It is the highlight and I'm also putting that in terms of everything I've done. That was all live action. This is still the highlight and the pinnacle of what I love doing creatively.
That is absolutely phenomenal to hear. That is honestly, it comes through in your work really, really strongly. And it's just so cool to know that it is something that you're enjoying this much.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's get started on some of the questions. So first I want to ask, when you found out you were cast for the role of either Seer or Tara, what was the experience like?
First of all, you never are told what it is. You always sign a non-disclosure agreement, or as a lot of people have heard, NDA. And so you're not given any information. So when I went out for that audition, I wasn't given any information. And the character wasn't even called Seer at the time.
Really?
Really, because you don't know what it is. And it had two, at the time, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order had two code names. And so if you went to one code name and tried to do any research, it led you to another code name. That's how big the franchise is. And so when I auditioned with someone that I love, that I respect, and the way I feel about voice acting is the way I feel about him. He is my guide, and he's my Jedi Master. He is my Jedi Master, and we've done 6 games at that point. His name is Tom Keegan.
Wow.
Tom Keegan is my Jedi Master. He's always leading me in the direction of truth, honesty, authenticity, discovery, living in the moment. So little did I know that every time I work with him, I'm in a master class. I'm not just working, I'm there as a student. I'm a graduate student. I'm there to get my doctorate. I'm there to get my bachelor's, my master's, and my doctorate. And I always do that with him. And he always makes sure of that. And that's how our relationship works. It's a very powerful personal relationship. And it's a very powerful creative relationship. I trust him with everything and all that I am in the entertainment industry, and with everything and all that I am in acting. Everything that I stretched and bent to be is because of Tom Keegan. And I've taken everything that I've learned from him and put it back. So when I knew that in the audition process that he was directing this, I didn't care whether I booked it or not. For me, the learning process was going to be powerful to have this continuing growth. So living in that moment, it was, tell me more about this master class. So I walked into this audition, and usually auditions for performance capture and motion capture, you'll always be told, well, it's going to be like an hour, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, or a minimum of 30 minutes, because it's about the body movement. It's about the language. It's about the most sincere and honest thing you can do. On camera stuff, you go in, you want to look like the character, you dress like that person, you're reading with someone, the casting director or the casting assistant, and it's done in spy. This was always a master class in it's almost like I should have been paying him to have this master class, because everything that I learned, I gleaned the wisdom to take and put back into other work. That's how powerful he is to me, that Tom Keegan is to me. And so when I was there having this audition, it stopped being an audition for me. It became a workshop that I can take this direction and learn this stuff in this moment. So my mind never thought about whether I was going to book it or not at that point. My mind honestly was, I got a chance to see someone I love and admire and respect with every fiber of my being, and I get a master class in this being right now. He shifts me so that Debra disappears and becomes the smallest part of who I am, and this other being comes out and gets to have a voice and speak. It's almost like being possessed. It's almost like living another life, and it takes you away from your own self and gives you the freedom of someone else. And I got the chance to have that for 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And so when I left, I never thought about it again. And then when I booked it, it was like, that's great, because I knew the first thing I thought was, I'm getting a chance to work with Tom Keegan. And so it didn't matter what the game was. I get a chance to have this experience and continue my doctorate courses with Tom Keegan. And then when I found out what it was, I lost I'll say it again, people. I lost my, I went, Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa Puffs.
I can only imagine.
Be a part of this, and this was not my first time being a part of the Star Wars franchise. This was like my third time, but this was the pinnacle of what I had experienced with the franchise. And little did I know that this other epic journey would tie me so close to this being, this Seer Junda, that every time I worked and she took over, she was bringing me with her in this world. She never left me behind. She always brought me with her. A lot of times when I'm doing other things, Debra becomes the smaller voice. Debra will always become the smaller voice, and they'll get their opportunity to speak. But so much of myself, so much of my personal life and my intimate life and my spiritual life was in Seer Junda, so that every time she was living her life and living her truth and her honesty and authenticity, I was with her as an equal to accept the space that she was in, because in the back of me, I'd be like, yeah, yes, I know, I feel you. Yes, I feel you. I sympathize with you. I care about you. I'm compassionate for you. I know. And so there are things that were dark secrets of mine that also had to come out at that point, that I got a chance to talk to Tom about. And that was going to be very, very important in some of the moments in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, where it's not overplayed, but I know that I had to take those dark spaces and use them without overusing them, because it really was about the work in and of itself, as opposed to me having a scene that shows what I do. It's not about that. And I love voiceover and I love performance capture, because it's never about showing off. It's about being a part of an adventure that everyone blends into with consummate creativity.
That's incredible. That leads in really well to another question.
No, wait a minute. That wasn't incredible. It was very credible. It was extremely powerfully, emotionally, creatively passionately credible.
Absolutely. It sounds like a really, really fun time, and it's always a good thing to continue learning. And that is just the biggest driving force in life.
Yes. And it's a lot of work. Make no mistake, it is a lot of
Absolutely.
work, and it's a huge responsibility.
Absolutely. Do you personally relate to Seer?
That's my point. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Every time that she emerged, she brought me with her completely so I can witness her, but I witnessed her not as a distance, but because we're so indelibly tied together in our experiences that the more she told her experiences, the more it's almost like when someone, or one of my scorpions is out, I'm sorry. I have scorpions. Anyway, she just came out and she's probably going to be wanting to eat soon. Anyway, but I'm indelibly tied to Seer on so many levels. Like I said, when speaking with Tom Keegan about some of the dark stuff, it was important to bring it up and not hide that, so that Seer goes, I trust you to come along with me on this ride. The one they called Debra Wilson. And I said, Seer, I'm going to trust you with my secrets. And so this was one of the few, if not the only one, that was so indelibly tied on almost every single level. I'm tied with every being that comes into this experience and every being that speaks and emerges through me. I'm always tied to them. It's an umbilical cord. I don't have a choice, because I'm the one doing, they're the ones doing the work. They're the ones doing the work, and they're the ones guiding me into what is supposed to emerge. They're using my body as a vessel and a vehicle for the work that's supposed to be emerged. However, Seer Junda was the one that when she emerged, she pulled me up so I can have that experience with her. So I can bear witness, because she and I had so many equal personal and spiritual and emotional and physical experiences and past experiences with dark, serious, dark experiences. So she pulled me up. So I had no choice but to feel what she felt. And she had no choice but to feel what I felt. It was this symbiotic thing. And I'd never experienced that with other, I don't call them characters anymore, because when you live in them and breathe in them and they allow you that and you submerge so that they can emerge to tell their truth, and you get rid of all of your fears, you get rid of all of everything about who you are, because now you're no longer important. Their story and the journey that they're taking and how to tell this story in this video game and in this session and in this shooting schedule and everything else that technically has to go with it, you have to disappear along with your ego. And you have to be vulnerable and open. And I was the most vulnerable and open with Seer.
That's beautiful.
It really was a beautiful experience, painful at times, but that's the pain that I put into my work that helps me emerge into my healing all over again, to do it again and again and again for every game that I voice and every game I do performance capture for.
That's wonderful. So when you were going into bringing Seer out, what kind of prep work was the best for you to be able to get her all the way?
She was going to go all the way anyway, because all that really requires is truth. Is truth and authenticity, and having no fear in sharing those dark places, and knowing who she is throughout the entire script, knowing who she is in the entire journey, and having a director as consummately professional and amazing and extraordinary and powerful and life-changing, like Tom Keegan, being able to take all of those things within you and say, I'm going to put this here, 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 here. I'm going to move this here, and I want you to give me this, but I want you to bring this down here, and I want you to do this. He's a conductor. He is the band leader. He is the conductor. He knows how to orchestrate, and he knows how to pull out what he needs. If he's not getting it, he knows how to pull it out from the strings, from the cello, from the brass, from the woodwind, and how to put it all together. while doing that and conducting that with everybody and being that center force for the game developers and the writers and Lucasfilm Limited and EA Games, and being that conductor and liaison and director. He does it all, and he does it all as a consummate professional. I trust him with everything that I am and every fiber of my being whenever I create, because he says, all right, yes, I know you've got all that creative force in you, but here's what I need. Here's what they need. Here's what they want. And now let's bring all of that out to fill this. Sometimes it's to fill this vase. Sometimes it's to fill this pot. Sometimes it's to fill this vat. But whatever it is I'm meant to fill, he creates the what I'm supposed to be filled into. And he goes, okay, I've created a vat. Now we're going to dump all of you in there. We're going to make this amazing soup together. He's just, and honestly, I will drink his Kool-Aid. I will drink his Kool-Aid, and I will put on my purple cloth and I will lie down. I will. Yeah, that's how Tom Keegan is for me.
That
I can't
is a fantastic level of trust. That is a wonderful working relationship, and that is really, really cool to hear. It really does carry through very well on your roles, on the ones that he has brought through
Tom
with
Keegan,
you.
indeed.
Absolutely. Were there any when you were working on this, were you physically present with any of the other actors while doing your lines?
You have to be, because it's not lines, it's performance capture. So you're actually like doing theater, of course. And this is going to sound, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I'm going to say it. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order with Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis. This was his first performance capture game.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
And he plays video games so much, and he's been acting for so long, even though he's young or younger than me. He technically came in with an amazing acting prowess, with an amazing awareness of games, and every suggestion, everything to grow Cal Kestis, everything to grow the experience was amazing to watch and learn from this young man. I learned quite a bit from him just watching him, because he would stop and go, yeah, but. And other people might have thought, come on, man, you're slowing down the process. Oh my God, the actor who just wants to have an input. Not so with Cameron Monaghan. Not so. He's so aware and wants nothing but the best. He wants nothing but to give the best. He wants nothing but to serve the project and serve the best. It was an extraordinary experience working with this young man and watching the choices that he makes, which are clear and aware and awoke. This dude is woke. And this was his first game. This dude, this cat, this young man is woke.
That is a wonderfully glowing review, and it makes me very, very excited to continue playing every time I pick it up. His performance also definitely comes through, and you can feel him learning through the entire game, and it carries over very well.
And our rehearsal process, just our connections at times, when we're obviously rehearsing, and the things that we were meant to connect to and how we were meant to connect was powerful at times. It was like, wow, okay, wow. We've had many wow moments between us, and wow moments of, okay, wow, okay. And that's all I can really say about it. There are no other words, and there's not anything I can say that would sound more eloquent. I don't have a more eloquent way of speaking it, because the eloquency would come from an intelligence, and this comes from a gut, and the gut was, wow, okay.
Absolutely. Do you have any specific memories that are just like stand out from either the rehearsal process or the performance or any specific lines that you have done as either Seer or Tara that just are super memorable, right at the top of your head, ready to pull out at any point in time?
I did at one point, and when people lines, there was a scene, and when people recognized my voice, and because Seer is my avatar, to a certain extent, they would recognize my face, and gamers in various places were like, were you in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Did you play Seer? And I would say yes, and they would want to take a picture. I was like, no, we're going to do this scene. And so we would perform this quick scene, and they would be the Cal Kestis role and just have 2 lines, because I wouldn't ask them to memorize anything or like do a full scene, but I was like, just say yes here and just say no here, okay? But I'm going to come in. And so we would do these, I would do this scene, and I can't think of it right now, but it will come back to me. It will come back to me. And there is another actress who is, if I have to epitomize her, she's everything the way I feel about Tom Keegan. And she played second sister. Her name is Elizabeth Goujon.
Yeah.
And she was so brilliant and amazing. And that was, our experiences were so extraordinary in the rehearsal process that there were less times when we were crying than there were more. When we were, because that relationship is a very heavy relationship.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
Seer and Cal are a developing relationship, and Cal and Seer and second sister it's a whole different relationship, because there's a great deal of a past. And so when Tom Keegan gave us permission to really explore that and improv our relationship and what it was in the past to how we feel now, we were always in tears. We were always in tears. At the end of rehearsals, we were always crying in each other's arms. And at the same time, emerging back into ourselves to go, you know, I see my spirit in you. I love you. I adore you. I appreciate you. She was a relationship that went from 0 to 100 miles per hour, from hi, nice to meet you, into this is us. So much so that we had this universal connection that I had never met Elizabeth prior to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And within 2 weeks of meeting her, as all the preliminary stuff was going on, I ran into her at my post office, which I have been going to for 20 years. 20 years. And in the 2 weeks of meeting Elizabeth, I met her there like this. Boom. Again. And so there are certain things that are just universally designed to be kismet and grow that relationship. And then we did some more work together on other projects. And that relationship is instantaneous. If I don't see Elizabeth in 10 years, and then Elizabeth Goujon comes up to me and I see her, it's as if we never left each other, because that relationship is so solidified here that this has no bearing. The outside world, the outside timing of things has no bearing. She was a huge and monumental, and still is a huge and monumental part of my personal life, my spiritual life, and the work that we do and have done together in that game. So that experience. Also, the experience I was telling you of bringing up this really dark aspect of my life and my past, and putting that in the work, and not hiding from it, and not ever really talking about it, but not hiding it. Because in other words, it's one thing to go, okay, I have this thing in my past, and it was really dark period for me, a very violent and dark period for me, but I'm going to use it, and then not tell anybody what it is.
Yeah.
But to disclose that thing, and with all the details, it's like going back to the way it made you feel. It's like being in that moment again. And being in that moment allowed me to bring it into this moment, because now the two are in the same time-space continuum. And the reason I can trust Tom Keegan with my feelings is because as a director, he's never telling you do this, do this, do this. He's always sharing intimate things about his life and his personal experience. So you feel like you've got a partner in this who is equally as vulnerable. I adore this man so much. It's, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And I
Oh,
adore Elizabeth.
that
And
sounds
I
like
respect and
just
adore Cameron Monaghan. So, I mean, those are the experiences that I can think of. But those lines will come back to me, you know, but right now, as we're having this moment, my mind is being able to just, you know, share those deeper things that come into mind automatically, you know, that I don't have
Absolutely.
to
I
commit to
really
memory.
appreciate it. It's been fantastic so far. It's a really wonderful time to just hear this process and be able to be a part of this. Another question is, do you have any dream Star Wars roles besides Seer? Because it sounds like were able to put so much of yourself into Seer. Or do you have any other like more fantastical roles or any sort of possible other avenues you want to explore in the Star Wars universe?
No. And I'll
No?
tell you why that was a very easy answer. Because whatever the universe wants to give me, whatever the Force says is going to come to me, I trust that relationship. I trust that relationship enough to step back and allow, instead of using my ego and my desire and my comparing and my thought process about what could be. What could be will already be. So I can step back and allow and trust the universe. More than anything else, I'm in a constant state of preparation to receive whatever. And that constant state of preparation has nothing to do with acting. It's about being compassionate, loving, kind, considerate, being available for those in need, being creative, being loving. It's all of those things. That to me is the constant state of preparation of all of the work that I do in the world, including volunteering and helping and loving and being there, showing up and showing out. Because undoubtedly, if someone asked my opinion about something, I wouldn't turn around and go, well, I can't give you my opinion because I'm an actress. I can't give you my feelings about that because I'm not here to help you that way because I act. That's not what I do. It's releasing all of those things because they're all gifts and trusting that the universe, the Force, God for me, the Force is God for me, has this divine life journey while you're here. And it always is about crystallizing your experiences to release them, to raise the vibration of the planet, to raise the vibration of love and giving and kindness, to raise the vibration that shows the reflection of what each and every one of us are. These beautiful light beings here to have a greater experience and expression of ourselves on an individual and intimate level. And when we can do that, we can have relationships like this with a Tom Keegan. We can have relationships like this with an Elizabeth Roujon. And then make that what we see as magic. But it's the human being who is the spirit being. So when the spirit proceeds, when the Force proceeds, you allow and accept and watch the magic happen so that the Force is conspiring in your favor. It becomes a symbiotic relationship. And it does, it binds us and it penetrates the galaxies together. Indeed, it is not a lore. It is the deepest truth to what we are as eternal beings. And that's why I believe that the universe has always driven me and the Force has always driven me to be a part of this, because the telling of these stories is the telling of us as humankind. Everything from the inside. It doesn't matter what galaxy, it doesn't matter what star, it doesn't matter where. It is all the story of emerging the best of who we are.
So hopping back into this, you've mentioned before that Seer is one of the first prominent Black female Jedi. Have you had a lot of interactions with fans, specifically Black fans of like women and girls? And
no, believe it or not,
really?
no. I think what's interesting is I share that information that, you know, I'm the first Black female Jedi in Star Wars video games.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to that. And it's not as if, and if I had to make that comparison just to balance it out, I'm not Wakandan, and I'm not, Black Panther, and I am not Chadwick Boseman, and I'm not T'Challa. That was an epic journey and story of the diaspora of Africa and into the Marvel universe. And this is not a new character. Black Panther is not new. Black Panther has been a very loved, but it's the first time it emerged as big as that, where it became almost a national pride for African Americans to see a powerful character, a metahuman, or a human whose nation was rich and wealthy and thriving with no police brutality. So when we go outside of ourselves, outside of our own realities, we're looking for us to be the hero. We're looking for us to be the leaders. We're looking for us to be rich and fruitful and share. We're looking for us to be powerful. We're looking for us to vanquish injustice, us, the world's injustice. And so that held a different sway, a more powerful sway among African Americans who went out in droves to support this. Whereas video games are very clear cut in its fandom. Because video gamers may not be people who love sports, but they may love sports in video games. And video gamers may not like, certain things. But there is a whole world and a universe to video games that exists, that has its own idiosyncrasies because of the types of games. And so it wasn't a larger general idea that a lot of people would go like, oh yeah, I know this character and I know this video game and I've played this video game or I've heard of this video game. You know what, because there's a Black person in it, let me play it. I don't think that was the case. And at the same time, there's a whole universe of Star Wars and Lucasfilm Limited fans. So when you put those two together, you get that combination where people might say something and people may be aware of that, but it's not the same awareness on a larger scale. But those who have enjoyed it and have made comment, believe it or not, don't pick me out as being the first Black. And I think that is an amazing compliment, because I'm blending into the Star Wars universe without standing out. And that in and of itself is a gift of universality without being the Black Jedi.
Yeah,
and no
really
one has
powerful.
made a comparison to Mace Windu either, which is really beautiful too. And no one can compare, to Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu, because he also was the one who said, look, he went to George Lucas, I want a purple lightsaber. Ain't nobody got no purple lightsaber. Pardon my French, but give me a purple lightsaber. I want a light. If he had to say that, I don't think he would say that, but if that was his snakes on a plane, boys.
I could see it now, just him directly speaking to George, saying word for word that.
Yeah.
And George having the biggest grin on his face because he knows it's just all in jest, all in fun, all
and if
in
it
good
was
times.
if it was like a blooper reel and someone shooting on camera, George Lucas would just look at the camera and go like,
"Oh, that is something I would love to see." Maybe one day we'll get that little bit of extra bonus cut of saved footage that they kept
somewhere. Please let that footage exist.
A couple more light questions. Let's start with if you had to choose between Seer and Tara for a pandemic buddy, which of them would be your main choice and why?
Tara Rashim, because that relationship would take work and growth, And I think if I'm going to be with someone that long, I'm going to enjoy the challenge and the work to find common ground. And with Seer, it would be, it's one of those things where it's like so comfortable and so balanced and so harmonious that I want to strangle her. So
Oh,
it would be, but then again, she would just do this. I would go against the wall and I would crumple in a heap, like a bag of her dirty laundry. So Tara Rasheen would be more of a challenge and interesting to learn her, because
yeah.
I think I've learned quite a bit about Seer, but Tara Rasheen, I would love to learn more about.
I could
And
imagine early
she's an
on.
interesting face, you know.
Absolutely.
I'd never get sick of her face.
I could definitely imagine early on in quarantine her being a little bit more of a go-getter for all of the things you might need, and having that strong arm to be able to make sure you're set for while you're stuck at home. She is
Yeah, if she
absolutely a
would want
powerful
that,
person.
because she's not stupid.
Yeah.
She doesn't serve someone. She's not that.
No, she's the
So,
leader of the
but
Guavian Death Gang, and it's so
but
cool.
she is a leader of one of the factions, not of
Mhm.
but one of the factions of the Guavian Death Gang. But my thing is this: it's finding that balance. So she could teach me certain strengths, certain fighting skills, certain ways of being physical. So I think I would learn a lot. You know, her eating habits.
Absolutely.
You know, yeah,
Absolutely.
how to
That
shoot.
sounds like a really fun time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would introduce her to things. I would introduce her to bubble baths. You know,
It's something that space does not have enough of.
yeah, I would introduce her to aromatherapy. Um, she would probably want to kill me because I'm a vegan,
Yeah.
but you know, we'd have to work that out. I think she would be, but I also think the thing that she would be interested in, I think she would think I'm cool because I also have 8 species of tarantula and 13 scorpions,
Wow.
13 different scorpions,
That is an incredible amount.
and 2 aquariums,
2?
2 aquariums and a dog. 8
I heard the
tarantulas,
dog earlier.
13 scorpions, 2 aquariums, and a dog.
That's incredible.
No, it's very credible because I have it. I stopped using the word incredible because I realized, you know, it's all true. It's all possible.
Yeah.
It's all perspective. It's all true. It's all possible. It's all perspective.
All right. And then one last one, probably before we go. If you could pop into any place as yourself in the Star Wars universe, where or when do you think that would be? What would you most want to experience or just be a part of?
That's an easy one. Another time we will have an amazingly and wonderful conversation about how I used the Force to will Mark Hamill into my life. And he'll tell you the same. But it would be meeting Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie and R2 and 3PO. It would be learning what real sacrifice is about from all of them, and frustration and moving through that. It would be about learning about the suffering of all these worlds. And it would be learning the Force to use it for good and risking it all for a greater future. It would be from the very, very beginning, because that was the most epic and powerful journey that brought me to where I am today. It started with that. It started with that. It started with, yeah, The Adventures of Luke Skywalker, episode 4. It started with all of that. And it was the first time I said, I want to be in this business. Because it wasn't about what I saw, it was about what I felt. And so I wanted to have that feeling over and over again. In fact, I saw the film 47 times in the theater.
Wow.
To the point in which the person who ran the movie theater said, just let her in. She's only watching the same thing over and over again. So I would go back pretty much 2 to 3 times a week. And the box office was like, oh, go ahead. Because it had such an epic run that it had been there for months.
Yeah.
It had this meteoric rise and it just was there for months. And so the manager of the theater was just like, let her, whenever you see her, just let her in. And I memorized pretty much every line. And when the music always came on, my heart would beat so fast and I would begin to tear. It was just like the epic journey of my life was beginning in my consciousness and in my awareness. It's like I'm finally conscious aware and I'm finally awakening. And every time that music played, it was almost like I was coming out of the womb and experiencing something that was going to lead me down this journey. Like I'm umbilically cord tied to this experience and it's going to take me there. And I'm going to learn something about myself. And little did I know that that whole epic journey would become my epic journey in life to get to this place that I am now, including my dark side. I got a dark side for you. Gotta end it off on some fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute treat. This has been a wonderful experience for me. I'm sure everybody's gonna love it. I'm really glad I got to be able to do this. And I came in really respecting you and really just having a very high opinion of you. And I'm coming out with a much, much greater respect and a much higher opinion. It was absolutely fantastic. It has been the most rewarding experience. And I'm so glad that I got to be a part of it.
Yes.
I hope you have a fantastic day. Is there anywhere that we can follow your work specifically? Any social medias you want to plug? Anything you want to pop in?
I'm not on any social media. I'm not on any social media. The only thing I do that someone convinced me to do and said, try this, this is fun, is to do Cameo greetings. Ooh. And the average Cameo greeting on Cameo on the app is like, they say, make it a minute. Maybe 90 seconds, this way you keep the ball rolling, but I don't want to do volume work. I really want to have time like this. So my average is like sometimes 15 minutes a cameo.
Oh,
I can't help it because a lot of people are remembering the stuff that I did before the voice work, which is like Mad TV and doing, Oprah and Whitney Houston and Lita and Melina and Bunifa, Latifah, Halifa, Sharifa Jackson. And so all of a sudden when they want to come out, they all want to play with each other. So then I just screw off everybody else and we're playing together in front of a camera. Everybody's doing their thing, And so that's where you can find me. And some people just say, look, I want some advice. I've heard your other stuff. I hear how you speak. And I know how you feel. And because I am very transparent in my feelings and my growth and all the spaces that I've lived in my life as I'm continuing to journey this experience, live my life, love my life, and learn my life with every sacred breath of God. People like, I trust that I can share this with you. And I feel open and I feel like I can be vulnerable. And that's a huge trust. And it's very, very important to be able to not breach that trust, because I know what that's like, because that relationship with Tom Keegan, who has never breached my trust and has always loved me, nurtured me, supported me, guided me, and shifted the way I work and will continue to work with and without him. And so you can find me on Cameo.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Indeed. I want to parting words between me and Seer. Okay. These are my parting words before I leave. Be blessed, be well, be happy, be healthy, but most importantly, be you, because you are beautiful. And may the force be with you always.